I don't know why, but if you want to be a criminal and get away with done by somebody, murdering them, watch this video. Watch this video.
Man is on his deathbed in rural Vermont surrounded by his family. Knowing he only has a few hours left, he looks at them and makes a startling confession. He confesses that when he was 19 years old, he took someone's life. Completely shocked and bewildered, the family takes a moment, then looks at him and says, "How did you get away with this for this long?" If you watch part 1 of this series, we talked about how it's nearly impossible to get away with murder in 2026. Today, for part 2, we're going through all the ways you could get away with it in 2026.
I ain't gonna lie. This man right here is probably a psychopath. He's probably a psychopath. He knows the way to get. He knows the ways to get away with murder.
Good man.
He's a psychopath. But let's hear him out, y'all. Let's hear him out.
In a moment to gather his thoughts, the man looks at his family and simply says, "I got away with it because no one was looking for me." And that brings us to number 1. The sad truth about the world we live in is there are millions of people who no one would miss if they're gone.
Invisible victim.
People that no one's looking for, and thus by default, there are millions of people who would make great murder victims. 36% of all unsolved murders in the United States involve sex workers, transients, and runaways. People who the world tends to not look at because they're invisible to society. And sadly, in the eyes of a predator, those people that no one's looking for make the best victims. You see, the criminal justice system tends to prioritize people who have high social value. That's why you'll see a case like the Nancy Guthrie missing persons case all over the news, yet you won't see anything about the 50,000 other missing people. The lower your social status, the less people you have who miss you, the less publicity and the less results you get. And unfortunately, psychopaths, sadists, and murderers know this, and they take full advantage of it. Advancements in DNA and forensic technology, coupled with online...
Well, you gotta think, they did have serial killers who was like, targeting sex workers and all that. And a lot of them already got caught. They got caught. So I understand what you're saying. If you want to get away with murder, you got to target these certain people because they'll be forgetting, they're invisible. Their family probably don't know about them. Their family probably haven't talked to them in years. Homeless people, etc. I get it. But if you want to target sex workers, you're going down because, yeah, you're not going to get away with that. But I get what he's saying.
Digital footprints make it nearly impossible to cover your tracks. The harsh reality is technology makes it really hard for you to step outside of your established patterns, especially online. That's what makes this next one so easy. The thing that gets most people caught up is they step outside of their prior established patterns. One of the easiest ways to get away with it would to make it completely random. Random killings account for 11% of all unsolved murders. No motive, no premeditation, just a psychopath who saw an opportunity.
Just random.
Wanted to see what it would feel like. There's
just done by somebody just because.
There's no relationship or connection with the victim. There's no digital fingerprint or pattern that you have to cover. 2026 criminology is essentially pattern recognition. Most solve rates depend on the observable tether between the victim and the perpetrator. By introducing a truly random variable, you essentially remove the logic gate that most investigators need to tie you to the victim. Now, let's say someone is abusing your daughter.
That's true.
Doing anything about it. You need this guy gone, and you can't rely on law enforcement anymore. You only involve yourself. You don't want to make it messy. You want to do it as clean as possible. You come to learn that this perpetrator is a drug addict. What's a really good way to get someone to disappear?
Overdose.
And on top of that, make investigators not even realize a crime has occurred. That's right.
Overdose.
You make it look like an overdose has taken place.
Wow.
Now, this one is very far-fetched. It would require all types of...
Wow, that's crazy. So he basically saying, if you want to get away with murder, you got to target a drug addict and make them overdose.
Good man.
That's crazy, yo. That's crazy. But if you keep doing that, some type of investigation will come about because they'll be like, wait. It's too many overdoses going on. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. But that is smart. I don't recommend you do it, but that is smart. You target a drug addict and you make them overdose if you want to catch a done body. I get it.
Planning, you would still have to figure out how to get in and get out without leaving any of your DNA. But if you can identify a vice that the victim has, such as drugs or alcohol, there is at least a theoretical chance on paper that you might be able to pull that off. One of the main ways people get popped for murder is...
Can you fucking You can't overdose on alcohol, can you? Nah, nah, nah. You can't. Can you? I never heard of somebody overdosing on alcohol. I don't even think that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing.
DNA. DNA cannot be argued against. It's your blood, your saliva, your semen, whatever it is, it puts you there, no questions asked. However, what if instead of just your DNA being on the scene, there's 20 forms of DNA? This next one is what we call forensic hijacking. You intentionally contaminate the crime scene with blood, fingernails, hair, anything you can get your hands on that is not yours. You put it there, it contaminates the scene. By flooding the scene with biological noise, you force the state or feds into a cost-benefit crisis. It is incredibly expensive to run forensic crime tests. It also takes a long period of time. By contaminating the scene, you are essentially clogging up the wheels of bureaucracy. This is by no means a way to get away scot-free. This is a way to throw in some reasonable doubt. If nothing else, it's a way to buy yourself some time so you can get the hell out of town, let's be honest. By contaminating the scene, you are essentially complicating the investigation by however many DNA samples you leave. This is by no means a foolproof tactic. This is simply a way to introduce some reasonable doubt into the case. And as far as the law is concerned, reasonable doubt is all you need. A majority of people who get caught up in murder raps do so because they're the
Civil
only ones
unrest.
there. They're the only ones around. They're the only DNA that was on the scene. What if you could be camouflaged by thousands of people? Mass protests or civil unrest would be the perfect place to get away with a murder. That's why some
That's
parts
not
of
true.
Africa and South
That's not
America
true.
consistently have.
That's not true, bro. Because you gotta think, somebody gonna see you do it. Like if it's that many people out there, somebody gonna see you do it. And for the right money, for the right amount of reward money, you're done, button. They're gonna tell on you. They're gonna witness that you did it. They're gonna tell you how you did it and everything. And they're gonna have all the details. You're done, button. With all those people out there, somebody gonna see you do it. So I can't agree with you on that one. I cannot agree with you on that one.
Have some of the highest murder rates in the world because there's no central government, there's extreme civil unrest, making it perfectly easy to get away with. Now this next one is highly employed amongst intelligence agencies across the world. It's extremely convincing and efficient. However, if you're just one person, it's really hard to pull off. How many times have you read a news story about a scientist that went rogue or a high-ranking government official from another country that randomly had a freak accident? Why is this one of the most efficient ways to get away with it? There's a few reasons. See, psychologically, our brains look for explanations in the path of least resistance. We want a quick explanation that makes sense, that doesn't require much effort. That's just human nature. The other reason is this: if you are an underpaid, overworked detective, your main goal is to solve cases as fast as you can. And unless the victim is high profile or there's a public outcry, unless it's blatantly obvious that it was a setup or someone was being framed, most detectives are going to take that because it's good enough on paper. Orchestrating a traffic accident or medical emergency, these are some plausible explanations that could be used. However, to the average Joe who doesn't have any...
Sir, you will not get away with it if you're in a car. They're gonna find some type of reason to give you manslaughter, like, or some reckless driving. You're going to be done by it. Like, you're going to have to explain, oh, why did your car go in a ditch when it was not raining, it was not snow on the ground? Did you fall asleep? Whatever. You're going to get vehicular manslaughter. Like, so you're not gonna get away with that. You're not getting away, bro.
Experience in this field, it's very unlikely. It requires a lot of patience, a lot of skill, and a little bit of luck. Most people don't have any of those going for them. This last one requires no skill, no planning, and unfortunately,
bureaucracy
is far too common. In a high-volume legal system, the bureaucratic barrier serves as a natural filter, where even technically sound cases are dismissed to administrative exhaustion. Human error, ranging from improperly filed digital warrants to critical gaps in physical chain of custody, creates a procedural firewall that any good defense attorney can use to dismantle a prosecution's evidence. Even things like relying on jurisdiction issues, unincorporated counties, crossing state lines, little glitches in the system that force the system to do extra. Many times they don't do it all. Many times the state and or feds' inability to maintain a perfect logistical record in a flawed, overworked system is often the final loophole that allows a perpetrator to walk free. Think O.J. Simpson or Casey Anthony. Defendants clearly guilty as sin, but somehow managed to beat the rap. Oftentimes the best way to get away with murder is just trust the system to do what it does best, and that is fail. At the end of the day, many of the people who get away with murder do so because they get lucky. They commit a crime in a jurisdiction where law enforcement is overworked, underpaid, and has virtually zero incentive to solve the case. Although it sounds like it might be easy, I don't know about you. I don't want to put the rest of my future in the hands of getting lucky. Best way to get away with it is just not do it at all. Then you don't have to worry about it. If you like this video, you want to see more like it, drop me a comment. Tell me what your favorite
That is a fact. Just don't do it. But I gotta talk on what he just said. He basically just said, if you in like a town or a jurisdiction where they really don't care or they underworked or whatever, you're not gonna get caught, bro. You're going to get caught. Why do you think some of these cities in these urban areas got a lot of gang members? So they be doing all these outrageous ass crimes. They doing all these drive-bys. They running down on people in public places in broad daylight because they think, oh, the city don't care. No, you're done button. You're going to get caught. They do care. For example, that Fulio case. The Fulio case, I think it was about 5, 6 suspects, 4 or 5, whatever, how many ever. They ran down on that man and, well, it wasn't broad daylight. It was nighttime. Killed him right in front of a fucking hotel parking lot, just guns blazing. Guns was blazing. They was tripping. They probably thought, oh, I'll get away with it. It's drill rapper. Nobody gonna care about him. We in Jacksonville. They don't solve nothing. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, yeah, if you want to get away with crime, with a homicide, don't do it unless you're playing GTA 6. But y'all like this video, subscribe to the channel, put your thoughts in the comment section. I appreciate it. And I see y'all on the next one.